the special one's unhappy homecoming. The roar that greeted José Mourinho upon his return to Stamford Bridge was a complex symphony, half adoration for the legend, half defiance from the fans of the team he was now trying to defeat. He strode to the technical area, Benfica red stark against the familiar blue seats, the atmosphere thick with history and Champions League tension. For Chelsea, this was a must-win night after a rocky start to the league phase. The football on offer, however, was anything but glamorous. It was nervous, edgy, and scrappy, a contest decided not by brilliance but by blind luck. The decisive moment arrived in the 18th minute. Chelsea's wide players combined well, with Pedro Neto clipping a sharp ball across the box. The young Alejandro Garnacho reached out with a sliding touch, directing the ball back toward the penalty spot. There, charging back in defense, was Benfica's midfielder Richard Ríos. He lunged to clear the danger, but the angle was impossible, and the ball rocketed off his boot and into his own goal. 1-0. The Bridge erupted with a cheer of relief more than celebration. The most influential player on the pitch was an opposing defender, an unwitting architect of Chelsea's first Champions League goal of the campaign. The rest of the game was a masterclass in tension and containment. Benfica pressed, but the Blues' makeshift defense held firm, showing the kind of resolve a vintage Mourinho side would boast. But the night couldn't end without a dose of classic drama. In the dying seconds of stoppage time, substitute João Pedro was dismissed for a second yellow card after a high boot, Chelsea's third red card in 4 matches. Mourinho stood stone-faced on the touchline, later lamenting his team's single, catastrophic mistake. For Enzo Maresca and Chelsea, it was an ugly win, a narrow 1-0 victory earned not through flowing football, but through grit, an early gift, and the ability to hold on. The special one's homecoming was spoiled, and Chelsea had finally found their first 3 points. Do you think Chelsea would defeat Liverpool? Comment below, !index pointing down, and subscribe.